Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm Mark O'Donnell, visionary at EOS Worldwide. I'm also a former EOS Implementer.
And I'm CJ DuBe, expert EOS Implementer and community leader for EOS Worldwide. And I am so excited to have you all here today to talk about EOS Implementation.
So thank you for joining us today, and I'm sure you're asking yourself by now, what is this mythical creature called an EOS Implementer? And CJ, could you take us through the day in the life of an EOS Implementer, what makes a good one, and what makes the EOS Implementer community so special?
For sure. So let me just start with what's an implementer. An implementer is three things: a teacher, a facilitator, and coach. The background, though, of an implementer comes from many different ways, but has an entrepreneurial background of some sort. Either they were an owner, they were part of an entrepreneurial leadership team. They absolutely love entrepreneurship, which leads them to be a great implementer. Yep. And so what we're doing is we are not consultants. We are not going in and telling a business what to do or how to do it. We are there to teach EOS, facilitate what's happening in the room, and coach them. Just like all great coaches out there, when I've had coaches before, and they would point out something that I wasn't doing well, and that's what I'm doing for them, is I'm helping to point things out that they could do better.
And we have this philosophy of independence versus dependence. So you can tell us a little bit about why that's so important in the room.
Absolutely. I mean, what we're doing is teaching them tools to be able to help them run their business better and break through ceilings.
And so could you tell me a little bit about the day in the life of an EOS implementer? What's your life like? What's your days like?
Oh, man. So I really do say this, that I am the luckiest person in the world. So on most given weeks, I will have 3 sessions. We call our days a session with a client. And what you're doing is you're setting up the objectives of the day, you're setting up the agenda of the day, and of course we have different days for depending upon where someone's on the journey. Yep. In the journey, we get them started for 3 days over 60 days, we get them all going, and then we're moving into quarterlies, and then we do annuals. So it depends on what the session is of the day I'm going into. But most of the time I'm doing 3 sessions a week, 3 different companies, and I literally the night before I'm thinking about that team I'm going to work with. And I'm thinking about how they act, how they show up, because every single one of them are different, and I need to show up for them and be my best. So I kind of call it zipping myself up, which is before I go into a room, I'm like, okay, everything else has to go away. I'm all about you. I'm all about this team is what I'm talking about. Yeah. And that's the day in the life. And I mean, think about this. You're changing a team, a person's life in 3 days a week. Yeah. And sure, some days I have 5 sessions, but most of the time it's 3 days a week.
And how many sessions do you do over the course of a year? You personally?
Me personally, yes. I do about 120 sessions a year. Yeah. Over a course of a year as an implementer.
So that gives you plenty of time to live what we call the EOS Life.
100%. Yeah. So we'll have to talk more about the EOS Life for sure. But I mean, I'm lucky. I just came off of an 8-day vacation that was absolutely fabulous in the woods, and
teaching the grandkids how to jet ski and water ski.
I taught my granddaughter how to do a 360 on a kneeboard. Yeah. So that was pretty darn fun.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Yep. So what is the EOS Life? We have 5 points of the EOS Life. What are they?
Doing what you love, with people you love, making a huge difference, getting paid appropriately, and having time for other passions, i.e. jet ski.
That's right. So when we think about, we'll take the first one of doing what you love. And we talked a lot about what the day in the life of an implementer is, the 3 roles of an implementer, the psychographics, and the fact that you have to be absolutely in love with entrepreneurs, these crazy people. And we also have the community, which kind of takes us into with people you love. And we have 5 core values. And those 5 core values create the culture of EOS, and it creates the community of EOS. So can you tell me a little bit about what the community experience is like? So for me, when I came into the community, as I joke that I was with my people for the very first time. As Gino used to joke, Gino Wickman, the founder of EOS, used to joke that we're the land of misfit toys.
So true.
And I think we still are the land of misfit toys. So you can tell me a little bit about the experience with the community, especially as a global community leader.
Sure. Our community is so amazing with such wonderful people, and the word abundance has been shared over and over and over the 12 years, and it was there when there was only 10, 20 of us, and it's still there with 500 plus of us. Yeah. We call it the Love Fest. And people are like, what are you talking about, CJ?
Yeah.
I don't, it's so hard to express our community without actually being part of it, because of the fact that we are abundance minded. I launched my business in Minneapolis, and now there is well over 30 implementers there, and they all love each other. They are all abundance minded. We all speak kindly of each other. Somebody calls me and says, CJ, I want you to be my implementer. And I say, I don't have any room. I'm going to share 3 names, a name with them. We are abundance minded. We come together as a community every quarter. We unite together, we learn together, we teach each other, but mostly we're hugging each other, and we're just saying, good job, keep going, for those that have just started, because we all get to that point where it's hard in the beginning.
It is
hard,
very hard.
I think you both and I remember how hard it was that first year, but then all of a sudden year 2's better, and by year 3 you're kind of in your groove, and you're loving it. And so coming together as a community, because no one understands what we really do.
No, try to explain to a family member, good luck to you.
Right, the husband doesn't really get what I do every day. Love him, but doesn't really get. So I get to go be with people that know what we do, know what I do, and they just keep you propped up. But they also the other thing about our community is, if we're not doing something quite right,
which has never happened, I've never gotten a phone call from CJ.
Then you might want to share with that person that you might want to consider doing it a different way.
For sure, for sure. And when we think about the community, and you talked about abundance, we have another core philosophy, I'll say, of real, raw, authentic, being open and honest with one another, which is a little bit like you tapping me on the shoulder and saying, hey, Mark, you shouldn't really be doing that. And, we do hold each other accountable. Where else do you see that real and raw coming through this community?
Well, I think real, raw it's something that as a person you have to learn to do. Mm-hmm. Calling it shed our skins, because real and raw is really getting into your own gut. It's truly about becoming super open and honest with yourself, because we're teaching open, honest, and vulnerable to our clients. Mm-hmm. So to do that, you have to become that and teach yourself that as well. So real and raw is everywhere in our breakouts.
Yep.
It's in the big room when we're together. It's just saying what you think, not holding back, and having no filter, which sometimes I have no filter. I'll be good today, though.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely opening yourself up. And I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't learn how to do that. It's changed my personal life.
Yeah.
In my family, as well as me personally as a person and in my soul.
Yeah, that covers abundance, because when most entrepreneurs come into this community, you have all of the shields up, you are however you want, like lots of armor, kind of Superman kind of complex. You can do whatever you want to do, and then you come into the community and you're being taught abundance versus scarcity and competitiveness, and you're being taught being open and honest.
Yes.
And as Dan Sullivan says, you finding your unique ability, your God-given talent, and realizing that EOS is for only a very small group of people in this world, being an implementer, and it takes a little bit of work. So I want to talk about what are the 4 things that make a great EOS implementer. Can you take us through what those 4 things are and how that looks?
When I'm talking to someone that's interested in becoming an implementer, there are 4 things that I focus on, and that's network, story, passion, and EOS purity. So network is every person becoming an implementer needs to have an entrepreneurial network. So what is their entrepreneurial network? It could be different peer group organizations, but they need to have their own network that they need.
And for you, it was EO.
For me, it started with EO, and then I went to Vistage, and I went to, actually, there's a fair amount of CEO roundtable groups, things like that I networked with as well. The second is story. You need to dial in your own personal entrepreneurial story. And we always say get that down to 1 minute, which is always a challenge.
If you can.
If you can. But the reality is the people, the leadership team that you're presenting to and talking to in that first 90-minute meeting, they want to resonate with you.
Right.
You know, they want to know that you are an entrepreneur yourself and what's your personal story.
You've walked in their shoes.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. And passion is you need to have a passion for entrepreneurs because we're crazy. And if you don't love entrepreneurs, you're not going to love being an implementer.
No.
It's just not going to work.
Nope.
So that's really passion for what we do. And EOS purity, to help everyone be clear, all the levers have been pulled. We talked about this a little bit earlier. You know, all the levers have been pulled. So EOS purity is that you are committed, you believe in what you're teaching, you're facilitating and you're coaching, and that you're doing it and delivering it exactly the way it was created. Now, there's nuances that happen in every team, and you will tweak here and there for that team.
Yep.
But ultimately, it's learning EOS and teaching at EOS in its purest form. Because at the end of the day, we have the Traction Library.
That's right.
And the world wants EOS in its purest form.
And with the Traction Library, we've sold over 1.7 million books throughout the library at this point. And so when people read that book, they want to experience what they've read in the books. And it's infinitely customizable to every unique entrepreneurial team. And so EOS Purity is an important part to know that you're not experimenting on your clients.
Correct.
They're getting what they've purchased and what they've read about in the Traction Library book. So it's an important piece of willingness to teach what is proven and not be an experimenter.
Right, because if you want to do your own thing and create your own thing, you don't want to be an EOS implementer.
No, you do not. Or CJ will be tapping on your shoulder more often than you would like. What was the moment in time where you knew becoming an EOS implementer was for you and that's what you had to do?
You know, I was running the massage center, and quite honestly, it wasn't doing very well, to be totally honest. And so then I was looking for ways, and because I'd read Traction, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take these tools and I'm going to use them absolutely in my massage center to pop it up and sell the thing.
To save it and then sell it.
Save it and sell it, exactly, Mark. That's exactly what I was doing. Well, in the process of doing that, I was on the website a lot, and all of a sudden I got an email from EOS Worldwide with a bunch of questions and said, would you please take this to see if you would be a good fit to be an implementer? So of course I answered those questions, and it came back with, oh, you could be a very good fit for EOS. And at that point it was a webinar. So Don Tinney, our integrator founder at that point, was doing webinars for people interested in being an implementer. I did that webinar. I walked out of that webinar, walked into the living room to my husband and said, oh my gosh, I know what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And he looked at me and he goes, oh, here we go again.
Yes.
Yes.
The entrepreneurial bug bites again.
Exactly. So how about you? How did you know you wanted to be an implementer?
So very similarly, I came into boot camp and met Gino, and there was 8 people around the table. I had no intention on becoming an implementer. I had 9 companies. We were succeeding in spite of ourselves, and we were just trying to figure out how to harmoniously orchestrate. And I thought EOS was it. And so being immersed into the culture, the community, and seeing all these entrepreneurs like yourself, you were there.
I was.
And it just became a great fit from a personality perspective. And then I started implementing the tools in my own companies. I was seeing all of these aha moments, all of these points in time where people were able to break through, and it did my heart good. And I found that it was really just about finding my unique ability, finding my God-given talent.
Yes.
I then decided, much to my partner's shock and chagrin, that I would exit the organization. We ended up selling them, and I became an EOS Implementer full-time. That did take a little bit of time, but...
That's awesome. I relate to that so well. I mean, I like you, I like to say I drank the Kool-Aid with, Gino's Kool-Aid when I went to boot camp and came out. And 12 years later, it's still my obsession. Yeah. Absolutely what I still love to do. It is so unbelievably grateful that I get to do what I do every day. So I guess, I go on my soapbox, sorry, but that's just what I love to do.
Yeah. And for me, I spent 6 years as an implementer, and the times that they break through the ceiling, and it's both professional and personal. I've had clients who freed up enough time where they could adopt children and spend time at the soccer games and never miss those events anymore. Right. And those types of moments for your clients and then for other implementers around you, seeing that happen is absolutely a gift. And they're grateful. Clients sometimes, if you've run other businesses, are not particularly grateful for your services. These are times where it creates so much freedom for you. Yes. They're grateful for you, and it's just a great experience. So what is the one thing that you would want to give a potential implementer?
The one thing I would share with anyone that's interested in becoming an implementer is that this will change your life. This will give you freedoms you didn't know that you had. This will challenge you more than you've ever been challenged in your life. Yeah. And it will, as CJ speak, would be, it feeds my soul. So it will absolutely help you be an amazing person and help companies be great at what they do.
Yeah, make an impact on the world, a dent in the universe.
Exactly.
If anything we said here today is of interest to you and you feel like you're a fit to join the EOS Implementer community, please go to our website and book a call with one of our support team members, and we'll help you with their next steps.